Your scars are not your shame, they are your strategy. Welcome to the Soft Girl Era podcast, where high achieving Black women unlearn survival, rediscover softness, and reclaim the joy, rest, and freedom they deserve without guilt, without apology, and without explanation. I'm your host, LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French. And I'm your guide from burnout to boundaries, from doing to being, from strong to soft, and loving every second of it. Today, I had the profound honor of sitting down with Jerhonda Williams, a woman whose journey from surviving childhood sexual trauma to becoming a pre K teacher is nothing short of revolutionary. Jerhonda is not just teaching children their ABCs and 123 yes. She is creating a sanctuary, a safe space where the most vulnerable among us can learn, grow, and be protected. Her story is a testament to the power of healing, and her impact on the world reminds us that our scars can become our superpower, that our pain can become our purpose, and that softness, not hardness, is the ultimate act of leadership. Jerhonda's work is changing lives every single day, and her courage to transform her deepest wounds into a calling to protect the next generation is a gift to this world. So let's talk about something we don't talk about enough. Let's talk about what happens when we stop asking. How do I succeed in spite of what happened to me? And start asking, how can I build a life, a career, or a business that is explicitly informed by my healing and uses that healing as power, not shame? Because here's the truth that Jerhonda's story reveals, and here's the truth that so many Black women are living right now. Surviving childhood sexual trauma is not a permanent identity. It can become a leadership training ground. And I know that sounds counterintuitive. I know that sounds like I'm romanticizing pain, but I'm not. I'm naming something that we've been taught to hide. We're often told to separate our pain from our professional life, keep it quiet, keep it respectable. But for Black women especially, the very stories we're taught to hide are often the source of our spiritual intelligence, our ability to read a room, our capacity to nurture and protect others, and our vision for creating safer spaces. In Jerhonda's case, transforming from a molested teenager into a pre K teacher is not just a comeback story. It's evidence that healing can evolve into a calling to protect and empower the next generation. So, the perspective I want to challenge today is this: instead of asking, how do I succeed in spite of what happened to me? Let's ask, how can I build a life, a career, or a business that is explicitly informed by my healing and uses that healing as power, not shame? Now, I want to share three key insights from my conversation with Jerhonda, insights that I believe every Black professional, leader, and entrepreneur needs to hear. First, your trauma is not your title, but it can be your training. Surviving abuse does not define your worth or your future, but the skills you developed: hyper awareness, empathy, courage to speak up, refusal to tolerate harm. These are leadership skills. When you choose healing, you're also cultivating qualities that make you a better teacher, manager, founder, or community leader. For Black women, leaving harmful workplaces to start businesses, those lived experiences often become the catalyst for reimagining work and building something more humane. Let me tell you about something that's happening right now, something researchers are calling the exit economy. Black millennial women in the United States are being pushed out of traditional employment, often because of systemic inequities and hostile work environments. The numbers are staggering. Labor force participation for Black women fell by 387,000, with 454,000 more women completely outside the labor force. Many did not leave by choice. They were laid off or pushed out, often from roles where they were underpaid, overworked, and undervalued. The psychological impact of that rejection after investing years into systems that were supposed to value them is devastating. Questions of worth, safety, and stability flood in. But here's what's remarkable: instead of returning to the same harmful structures, many of these women chose to invest in themselves, building software and digital products as a pathway to autonomy and healing. They leveraged AI and low code tools to reduce barriers to entry, allowing them to create income streams while protecting their mental health and caregiving responsibilities. They reframed their lived experiences, microaggressions, exploitation, burnout as data and insight for designing more humane products and companies. And the results? Black women owned employer businesses grew 13% between 2024 and 2025, compared to 4.4% growth for all women owned enterprises. Many of these businesses prioritize flexibility, psychological safety, and community impact, directly countering the harmful environments these founders escaped. The exit economy becomes not just a story of loss, but a story of Black women building legacies, businesses that can outlast any one employer and protect the next generation of workers. This is what it looks like when trauma becomes training, when pain becomes purpose, when survival becomes strategy. The rupture created by layoffs intersected with new technological possibilities. AI reduced barriers to creation, allowing women to channel their frustration and trauma into building tools and platforms that serve them and their communities. What began as involuntary exits is evolving into a movement of intentional entrepreneurship. This offers a blueprint for anyone who has survived harm or rejection, showing that you can build structures that honor your story instead of repeat your pain. Second insight: healing and purpose must sit at the center of your career or business, not at the margins. Black women are increasingly exiting traditional employment, often not by choice, and building enterprises that honor their wholeness, their families, and their communities. This is building with intention, not just urgency. Designing work that does not recreate the harm we survived, but funds our healing, protects our children, and shifts culture. Whether you're a pre K teacher or a CEO, you have permission to build your professional life around your emotional well being, not just around a paycheck. I want to tell you about Dr. Rosie Thomas, a financial expert who works specifically with Black women who have experienced economic and workplace trauma. She helps them transform urgent situations, layoffs, debt, underpayment into intentional, sustainable businesses. Black women are losing federal jobs by the hundreds of thousands, facing sudden income loss and uncertainty. Many are single mothers or primary caregivers, carrying emotional and financial burdens that compound past trauma. And there are significant barriers to funding, including limited access to traditional capital and systemic bias. But Dr. Rosie's core guidance is this: let the urgency push you, but do not let it rush you. She teaches women to build with intention, not panic. She emphasized three traits: clarity, consistency, coachability as foundations for turning a crisis into a viable business. Her practical strategies include knowing your numbers before seeking lenders or investors, improving personal credit and building a financial foundation, using community development financial institutions, grants, and pitch competitions tailored to underserved entrepreneurs, pricing services correctly to stop undercharging and stop leaving money on the table. And here's what's critical: Dr. Rosie tells women to start building systems on day one, even if imperfect, so that their businesses don't recreate chaos. Her clients move from crisis mode to long term legacy building enterprises, often designing businesses that prioritize mental health, family, and community. Access to capital through CDFIs, grants, and pitch competitions opens doors that traditional banking often closes. A growing cohort of Black women entrepreneurs have turned layoffs into businesses that can outlast any employer. Dr. Rosie has spent more than 20 years delivering the same core message to women at this crossroads: build with intention, know your numbers, and go be seen. Her work arises directly from observing how Black women's lived experiences, poverty, layoffs, single motherhood, complex family histories, are often dismissed as liabilities, when in reality, they cultivate resilience and insight. She reframes their stories as the foundation for disciplined, values driven entrepreneurship. This work shifts Black women from being at the mercy of employers to becoming architects of their own economic futures. It demonstrates that healing and intention can coexist with urgency, mirroring the path of survivors who move from crisis to purpose instead of staying stuck in survival mode. Third insight: softness is not weakness. For Black women, softness is a radical leadership strategy. Many of us learn to survive by being hard, guarded, and constantly on alert. In the soft girl era, we are reclaiming softness as strategy, choosing boundaries over burnout, community over isolation, and rest over constant grind. That softness doesn't erase what happened. It says, I've suffered enough. My career and my business will not be another site of violence. For entrepreneurs and educators alike, leading from softness can transform how we hire, how we teach, how we serve, and how we design our systems. Let me share one more story with you. There's a powerful journey documented in the episode Rooted in Resilience, Turning Pain into Purpose and Power, inspired by Tawana James. It explores how Black women's most challenging experiences become the foundation for leadership and entrepreneurship. Tawana James's story illustrates how Black women's trauma, caregiving roles, and complex family histories can be reframed as assets rather than shame. Black women often carry unseen labor, caregiving, emotional support, and survival in hostile environments, both in families and workplaces. They are taught to hide trauma, poverty, single parenthood, and complicated family histories to appear professional. There's an internal conflict wanting to lead and build, but feeling that their backstory disqualifies them. But the solution is reframing those experiences as training grounds for spiritual intelligence, emotional resilience, leadership, and vision. Encouraging Black women to honor their stories instead of hiding them, and to let their scars become their superpower in business and leadership. Teaching a new relationship to money. When rooted in purpose, love, and community, money can fund healing, not harm. Embracing an unconventional journey and giving themselves permission to lead from softness, strength, and authenticity. The outcomes are powerful. A growing recognition that Black women are the fastest growing demographic of entrepreneurs in the United States, with their lived experiences directly fueling their entrepreneurial vision. More Black women designing businesses and careers that center healing, community, and generational impact rather than just income. A cultural shift where softness and authenticity are embraced as leadership qualities, not liabilities. Taiwan's journey sits within broader patterns affecting Black women, unseen labor, trauma, and the pressure to be endlessly strong. These experiences, once considered purely negative, actually cultivate unique leadership gifts. The soft girl era is a season where Black women give themselves permission to lean into softness, rest, and self honoring while still building powerful enterprises. Tawana's story exemplifies transformation of pain into public purpose work and leadership. It amplifies the narrative that Black women's stories are not obstacles to professionalism. They are the soil from which visionary leadership grows. It helps rewire how Black women see their own histories, not as something to hide to be professional, but as a source of power. So here's what I want you to take away from this conversation with Jerhonda Williams. Your trauma is not your title, but it can be your training. Healing and purpose must sit at the center of your career or business, not at the margins. And softness is not weakness. For Black women, softness is a radical leadership strategy. Now, I want to leave you with a question that I hope will sit with you long after this moment ends. If you stopped organizing your life around the harm you survived and started organizing it around the healing you deserve, what would you change first in your work, your business, or your boundaries? Here's your call to action. This week, choose one concrete shift that aligns your professional life with your healing. If you're an employee, set one new boundary that protects your peace, whether that's your availability, your workload, or how you allow people to speak to you. If you're an entrepreneur, audit one part of your business, pricing, hours, clients, systems, and adjust it so it supports your mental health and your family, not just your revenue. If you're an educator like your Honda, identify one way you can make your classroom safer for yourself and your students and implement it, even if it's small. Then ask yourself, what would my life look like if every major decision, career, business, money had to pass a does this honor my healing test? Because here's the truth, you don't have to keep carrying the cape. You don't have to keep proving your strength by staying hard. You can lead from softness. You can build from healing. You can turn your pain into purpose and your survival into something sacred. The world doesn't need another version of you performing strength. The world needs the real you, the soft you, the healed you, the you that has decided that your life, your work, your business, and your peace are worth protecting. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the right moment. Stop waiting for someone to tell you that you've earned the right to rest, to heal, to be soft. You've already earned it. Your survival earned it. Your resilience earned it. Your courage to keep going earned it. Now it's time to claim it. Build a life that doesn't just survive, build a life that thrives. Build a business that doesn't just make money, build a business that makes meaning. Build a career that doesn't just pay bills, build a career that honors your story. And when you do, you won't just change your life, you'll change the lives of everyone watching you, learning from you, and following in your footsteps. That's the legacy. That's the revolution. That's the soft girl era.